Hey everyone, it's VM Campos, photography fan. Welcome back to another stream. The second one in recent times where it's a little bit off topic than what I usually do. I'm usually playing Magic. Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering dash Arena 2.0. But today, like last week, I'm doing a photography stream. I'm gonna show some photos, hang out. It'll be just a sort of chill hangout time. Shoot the breeze sort of thing and look at photos. I recently had a photo get together with a couple friends. I want to do that a few more times in the future. That was a really cool time. And so what I've got up on screen here are the photos that I took during that time, and just gonna kind of look at them and also edit them a bit in Photoshop, try to use some Photoshop trickery to make them new and different and so forth, change them up a bit. So that'll be the goal. Just hang out and talk about photography and the like. So actually, let me switch over here. I'll probably repeat myself as people come into the stream. So my camera of choice for this photo shoot get together is this Canon EOS 300D, also known as the Digital Rebel, the first consumer grade Canon Digital Rebel camera that debuted in 2003. So this is a 20-year-old camera. It's also really chunky, really heavy. Hey there, Stevie, how's it going? So I just started the stream and I'm telling everyone this is going to be another photo stream this week. I've got the photos that I took that we all took together this past get together, and I'm gonna browse them and we'll talk about them, and it'll just be a chill hangout stream. No magic this time. Again, I'm going to change things up here and there. So for everyone coming into the stream, and I'll probably repeat myself. So this is the 20-year-old, literally the 20-year-old Canon Rebel, Digital Rebel, the also known as the Canon EOS D, the 300D, and it I bought it recently, last month, something like that, because I'm getting into vintage photography. And yes, even digital cameras can be vintage. So this is a vintage digital camera. It's 20 years old. And I use this plus the lens. Okay, so the lens is a 24mm fixed focus lens. It's a wide angle lens. I saw you and Catherine had the zoom lens, which is cool. You can either be wide angle or zoomed in. Probably the 18 to 55mm lens. That's the one that they all come with and such. So I got this lens later. I had this lens for a few years now, and it's 24mm, so it's only wide angle. It doesn't do anything else, but I can get in close. And so that is the camera that I used to take photos, and I've got the photos right here. So I ended up taking 73 photos. They're all right here, and what I'm going to do is browse them, maybe talk about them a bit, just hang out and chill, and I'm also going to play with them in Photoshop. I'm also going to get them into Photoshop and tweak them, and that's the cool thing about digital photography, well, even film photography, that you can infinitely edit your photos. Now, before we get to that, let me confirm that my music is okay. People can hear the music all right. It's not too loud. It doesn't bother my voice. That song's a little low, but some of the other songs, if it's a little loud, let me know, of course. But I think the volume is okay. If it's not, let me know. So I ended up taking all of these photos, and I want to make a video eventually on it, about this on my YouTube channel. I recorded some footage. I forgot to record more of it. I was just having too much fun. So I forgot to record the actual footage. Too much footage. But I want to make a little video about something like, something very clickbaity. Help me out here. What would be a great title that would trick people? I mean, convince people to watch my video. The 20-year-old digital camera that you need to have. Or how about, get this affordable camera or else. We'll think of some cool title. Did you ever get a snapshot of the Ingrid or whatever it was? Yes, I'll pull that one up right now, actually. I'll pull that one up first. That was at the end of the trip. So here we go. I got 2 shots of it. So here it is right here. This is from where I was standing. It's a little off-center. That can be easily edited. And then if I look at it at 100% view, so here I am. So obviously, so how big is this? This is a 6 megapixel camera. Your camera's probably way better. But I deliberately got an older camera, which, let's do this for a moment. If we go look up your camera, which I think it's the Canon T6. Catherine had the T7, and then I think you had the T6, right? So just gonna look up a quick bit of info about it here. Canon T6, also known as the EOS 1300. So you got it back in 2013. Probably later, because according to this debuted in 2016. So you might have had another one, because on this site is the official info on everything. So 2016. So check your math a little bit, but the 2016 is when this debuted. So it's an 18 megapixel camera compared to mine that's only 6. So that's way better. What else? Cool info here. 18, you got the Digic 4 processor. Mine's like the Digic 1.0. 9 focus points. You have ISOs all the way up to 6400. Cool. White balances, JPEG and RAW. Oh, you can shoot photos. Apparently you can shoot photos as a square, as a rectangle, as the size of classic film, or as the size of HD images. So apparently those are the ratios. You have, of course, full manual control, various program modes, 1/4000th of a second to catch all of the speed. Got some exposure compensation, got the flash, live preview. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you've used that mode. My camera does not have that. Yours apparently has live view, where you can use actually the little screen. Instead of looking through the eyepiece, you can use your little screen as a monitor. You turn on the live view mode, and instead of being caught like this, you could be looking at it this way. That way you see the world as well as what's on your screen. So live view. You have live view on your camera. Self-timer, USB 2.0, battery life, viewfinder. You have all of these other modes of autofocus too. So it looks like a cool camera. One of the most recent ones. And then Catherine had the T7. Let's just look that one up also. Canon T7. That one looks interesting. Hold on here. So this is the Canon PowerShot TX1. Wow, that's got an interesting design. 7 megapixels. Just out of curiosity, I want to... This is our just fun, chill-out stream of photography. The Canon TX1. It looks like something from the movie Terminator. Canon TX1. $400 for an old camera like that. Okay. But it looks cool. It looks weird. The design of it looks more like a camcorder than... Can't it even flips out like that? Is it a camcorder? Yeah, it says camcorder. Okay, never mind. It's a camcorder, not a photography camera. That's interesting. It looks like it just looks interesting with that shape. 7 megapixels. So what does that mean? It records in HD quality, but also video. And even though it's an old camera, it's still hundreds of dollars. $400 for that one. Or you can get it for $300 with all of the original packaging, originally in Japanese and everything. Oh, that's cool. Anyway, we're gonna look at the Canon T7. So Catherine's, that's from 2008. 24 megapixels. Looks very, very, very similar that from yours. Digic 4, 9 modes, ISO 6400, JPEGs and RAWs, same dimensions over here. Yeah, it looks almost exactly the same as yours, but every year or so they release the new number just to get people to buy it, but it's the same. And then compared to mine is a Canon 300D. 2003, 6 megapixels. Only 7 focus points, more limited ISO, only 1 dimensions, no live view. So anyway, those are some differences with our various cameras. And so the shot of the little bird that I took over here on my lens, 24 millimeters, so it was kind of the wide angle. On mine, I have to actually physically get close because you have zoom, but I have to actually physically walk close. And then here it is at 100% zoom. I took a second shot as well. So it had the leg walking, and then it had the leg sitting. Which do you like better? The sort of the walk pose or the standing pose? I look at them both, and then I'm not sure which I like better. They both are kind of cool. The walk is kind of cool because it's a sense of motion. So I like on the walk pose that you get the little legs walking. That looks cool. But I like on the standing pose that you get the curve of the neck. So obviously I gotta Photoshop it together that both of my favorite parts are together. So I'm gonna open this in Photoshop and kind of tweak the image a little bit. Going to open this in Photoshop. Let's see. So first we need to straighten it out. The background is all tilted, so if we straighten it, okay, so here's a trick here. If you ever have your photos that need to be straightened, Photoshop has a really simple tool to do this. So what you do is, on your tools, you go find the ruler tool. It's probably hidden under the eyedropper. So you tap and hold it, you click and hold it, and then you find the ruler tool. And what the ruler is, okay, it lets you kind of, you know, put angles and so forth, and it even lets you measure, but I don't use it for that. So you've got this tool, you make a line. Now the point of it is, I'm going to make a line from here to here. So in theory, that's supposed to be flat. But on my angle here, the angle is tilted, right? Because I didn't take the photo straight. It tilted a little. So the trick here is, with the ruler tool, you make a line of what's supposed to be flat or vertical. Then, up on the options at the top, you have the button Easy Straighten Layer. So clicking on that will then automatically calculate the perfect amount of rotation to make the scene straight. See that from before and after. Here's before. See how it's all kind of tilted. And then after, it's perfectly straight because the computer calculated the perfect degrees. I think somewhere it tells you exactly... Somewhere it tells you exactly... Oh, here we go. So here it would tell you exactly how many degrees tilt you have. 2.9 degrees. The angle is off. 2.9 degrees. So perfectly straighten it right there. Good. So then I'm going to crop it a little bit. Usually I like to crop things in a specific aspect ratio. This camera natively, what's the native on this? 4:3 or 3:2? Okay, so the native of this is, the native dimensions are for classic film, so which is 2:3. So I'm going to keep it as 2:3. And then we'll crop this. So 3:2. Probably from around here somewhere. Guess right around there-ish. So 2:3 takes me up here. Do I want that sky? Maybe we just need cropping of the bird all by itself. And there's that line. Try it that way. So I think that's better. If instead of the larger image where it also had the other stuff behind the scenes and such, I think it might be better this way without any of the background. Or is that too much of a crop? It definitely focuses on the egret this way. And then I'll go in and edit colors and such. So we'll say that this is... What's the subject here? I'll go with vivid colors as a starting point. Give it more contrast. I always like more contrast in my images. I think it needs a little brightness right there. Here's before, here's after, so the colors stand out more. Yeah, I like that. And then resize it down to kind of a final size. 1600 wide. There's the end result. If I do it full screen like this, there's the end result. The majestic egret walking across the fields with a care in the world, or maybe even just showing off for the camera. All right. So what other shots did I end up getting? Well, even before I met all of you, No, actually, that was, yeah, those are the shots when we first met up. Oh, okay, so let me show these after we all met up. Then I drove home. I got a couple shots on the way home. He's on Florida Street. We've been having some really nice skies recently, so let's see about making the sky and the colors a little bit more powerful. I definitely noticed with this camera, on my histogram, for example, even though it's the automatic mode that usually captures things very well, I see that it kind of doesn't capture the data on some levels of the spectrum. Like over here, there isn't anything extremely bright. So that's interesting. I've been noticing that with this camera. Because this shot's been technically via the histogram, it's a well photographed image. All the colors are aligned up well, but there isn't anything very bright. So then that's why I'm gonna go in and put some more drama into the image. I like switching to that color shift a little bit. Then let's see. And I do a little bit of auto right here. Then I'm gonna brighten it myself. I like contrast in my images. And with texture clarity and dehaze, ooh, I really like how those blues are coming out. I really like adding lots of dehaze, I've noticed. And pump up the saturation a little too much, slightly beyond real. But again, this is art, not journalism. So before, image is okay, but then after, ooh, that's dramatic. I really like how that those skies, the clouds just really stand out. The blues are out there very nice. So if we have it close up with the people here, so here's before. It's more dramatic on some of the other colors, but the people come out nice as well. Alright, so those are the color edits. I think it's also slightly tilted, slightly off. So we can judge by this. Here, that's supposed to be straight. Alright, so it was slightly tilted off. And then I would probably crop, so I won't follow any guide at the moment. I could straighten it based on that pole. So we'll say somewhere around here. 3x2. So cropping it somewhere around there. Well, that removes a lot of the sky, but the main focus, I think, is the people, not the sky, although we do see some amount of sky. Remove some of this dust on my windshield. Dirt. I just noticed there's some birds up here. Never saw that when I took the photo. Look, there's a little bird right there, just hanging out. And so there's the end result. Picked a good time. It's great to be mostly cloudy. Yeah, the weather was very nice. Today was way more gloomy, so it looks like we're getting some clouds and the like coming in and out. But the day that we picked ended up being very good. Let's see, what's another shot I did afterwards. When you were driving into Imperial Beach, did you go on Palm Avenue or on the other street, the Imperial Beach Boulevard? If you went on Palm Avenue, did you see this really cool mural of whatever this building is? Oh, it's the AT&T building. So I got a shot here of a person walking. On Palm. So this one was right after, I don't know if you know the streets of Imperial Beach too much, but this was on 13th Street on the right side going west. So I think this would be a stronger photo if I crop it, although the perspective of it, I like that the guy, he's got the walking pose. Maybe crop it somewhere around here, but the perspective of it, it's in a receding distance. Now let me try this. So if I try to do a straighten, I don't think straighten will work because it's not about it being straight, it's about the perspective. So even though it's straight a little bit there, then we'll go over to filter, vanishing point, and it's not vanishing point, it's filter, lens correction. Okay, here we go. So we want that to be more parallel. So these are going to be some custom horizontal perspective. Okay, so then crop this somewhere around here. This way we get the shots of the guy walking plus the building. If I crop it like this, got these various layers the road, the sidewalk, the person, plus building, and then above clouds. So all of these sort of horizontal layers. So you haven't had a chance to get your photos from the camera yet? The one that you shared on the Discord was your cell phone photo? All right. All right, this is funny. So I grew up in Imperial Beach, like I said, and when I was driving home, I saw this building. So apparently it's closed, but that's a CBD superstore. Yeah, right. It's a tiny little building. Now, back in the day, 30 years ago, well, 35 years ago, that was a flower shop, and I think it was even literally called the Flower Barrel, because this is a fun little building that is shaped like a barrel, although it has an awning around it. And for a long time, way back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was it sold flowers. At some point, it then stopped selling flowers, and then just changed to a bunch of different other things, and now it's another closed shop. Over here, where this is the vape and smoke shop, also decades ago, that building used to be a video store. So remember video stores? And I'm not talking about DVD movie rentals, I'm talking about VHS movie rentals. I don't remember the name of that store when it was a video rental store, but I remember it. This is so classic that this doesn't even exist anymore. But back in the day, on the VHS movie stores, they would have all of these shelves of VHS movies, and all that was there was just the empty box, and below it, it had a little hook. And on the little hook, it had a little badge and a little, like metal badge, and it was on the hook. And there might have been 2 or 3 or however many could fit, but there were these little metal badges on the hook right below the VHS box. So if there were 3 badges there, that means there were 3 copies ready to rent. And so you had to pick up the little badge and go to the front counter. Then they'd go to the back and get the movie. And that way, only 2 badges are left because there's 2 movies left in their inventory. But it was so low tech, but it worked perfectly, that each one of those little badges there let you know how many copies of the movie were available to rent. And I remember going there on a Friday night or Saturday night with my family, and everyone wanting to get the latest movie, like when Jurassic Park debuted or whatever. Everyone wanted the movie. And so obviously the VHS store, they themselves had to buy 1 copy or 10 copies or whatever of a movie, and then people would rent it. So if you bought it yourself, I'm sure it cost like $20. But if the VHS store bought it with more discounts, they would buy, if you buy 20 of them, you can get them for $5 each. So okay, you spent $100. But then that would mean that through the rentals of $2 or whatever, then you eventually recuperate it. So those are the old days. And I remember there being the section of horror movies. When I was little, horror movies were so scary to me. But even just the boxes, because there's so many movies that had really scary box art, and just by seeing the box art, that would be enough to scare me. Never mind watching the movie, but it was the box art that was scary. Next door, I think, was a laundromat, or maybe 2 doors down. But yeah, that's a place there. And mechanic over here. Fun little barrel. I noticed this when I was standing at the stoplight. That's not how you spell fresh. But the name of their donut shop is the Fresh Donut Shop, so that's funny. It's a tiny sign, but that's the name of their shop. It's not fresh, it's fresh. Even though the movie was a kid's movie, it scared you. Is the one-eyed purple people eater with great puppetry and the friendly monsters. It's funny what we think of as a kid, where even if it's for kids, what can scare us because we're just kids and we don't know a whole lot. But yeah, that's funny. Little kids movie, but still can be pretty scary. Bobar Liquor. So I like this shot, but there's no way to crop it because having the sign is cool, but then there's my rear view mirror. It can be cropped just over here, but I think that's Bobar Liquor number 2, or I don't know if it's number 1. But this is a little out of Imperial Beach, but back in Imperial Beach they also had Bobar 1, and that kind of gets me thinking for a moment. I'm curious here. Bobar Liquor. Because I have a memory of a long time ago that apparently they have 3 shops. They have the one. I think that's a different one. Oh, they have a lot of them. That's Bobar 5. Thought they had one in Imperial Beach as well, or did I imagine that? Where am I at? There we are. So Bobar 2, yeah, that's the one. But where's Bobar 1? It's a whole family chain of... Oh, okay, so the one that I took the photo of at the moment, that's number 1. And the one in Imperial Beach that I remember growing up, that was number 2. And then on the map, that one doesn't have any number. And that's got a number 5. So where's number 4? I bet it's in LA or something. Anyway, you gotta see if you can find the movie and rewatch it. Still holds up 20 years. Let's look it up for a moment. What did you say it was called? The One-Eyed Purple People Eater movie. Let's see if we can find it. Kids movie. One-Eyed Purple People Eater. Well, it is scary. It's got People Eater in the name. You found the song of it. Well, I definitely remember the song. That song's older. Purple People Eater is a 1998 American sci-fi comedy based on Sheb Wooley's 1958 novelty song of the same name, written and directed by Linda Shane. Oh, it stars Neil Patrick Harris, Doogie Howser, amazing. Ned Beatty, he's famous. Shelley Winters, she's famous. Dustin Diamond, oh, that's Screech from Saved by the Bell. Peggy Lipton and Tora Birch. Ooh, Tora Birch. She's amazing. Chubby Checker and Little Richard made musical guest appearances. The film was released in 1998. I don't remember this movie at all, but it seems to be full of all of the fun stuff that I would have liked. When young Billy Johnson plays the song, a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple alien from outer space appears. The creature helps Billy prevent his elderly grandpa, Ned Beatty, and Sam's neighbor from being evicted by their greedy landlord, Ken Noodle, all while playing in a rock and roll band. That sounds hilarious. Do we have the movie trailer? Yeah, there's the movie trailer. Wow, there it is. I'm going to play without sound so YouTube doesn't demonetize me. So I have to play without sound. But, alright, girls jumping on a trampoline. Neil Patrick Harris, very young, jumping on a trampoline. Ned Beatty, alien landing to the Earth. Wow, it doesn't even look like him at all. Oh, and he's jumping from the tree. That is scary. And they're playing. There's Screech right there. Lots of adventures. Yeah, the puppetry looks very good, although they're not showing a lot of it. Oh, there we go. They want to save it for the movie. Look at those effects. Better than ILM. Chubby Checker. Little Richard. Interesting. And that's some other movie. Whoever slew Anti-Rule. That sounds scary. Yeah, those are the childhood things that stick in our memory. It will be there forever. Flight of the Navigator is one of those movies that I remember forever. Remember that one? Flight of the Navigator, a kid. One day, so he's a kid, he disappears. He falls in a, well, that's a spoiler, but he falls somewhere walking home. You'd be curious if they would ever do a remake of it with some amazing CGI and even better music. Plus he'll also be able to dance a lot easier. But anyway, Flight of the Navigator, it was... This kid goes to his friend's house for a sleepover or something. He's gonna go to a sleepover or something, and he falls over the edge of the road into, you know, leaves and grass or whatever. Then he wakes up and he's, oh, okay, no problem, let me head home. He goes home, and what he finds at home is not his home anymore. There's other people living there, and he's all freaked out, and it's all weird and stuff. And then the police come and help him, and they figure it out. Hey, Jason, or Johnny, whatever his name is, I don't remember, you've been missing for 9 years. He's like, what? I just fell down here a moment ago, and I got up, and I'm coming home, and what are you talking about? They're like, nope, you were reported missing 9 years ago. So it's this mystery, like, what happened to him? But it's interesting because already, like, even the name of the movie plus the posters, that's a really cool part of the plot, that it's a mystery. But then there's already a lot of built-in spoilers. Yeah, exactly. It sounds like a scary sci-fi movie because, yeah, where am I? I was just here, and now this is not my house anymore. And so, again, they kind of spoiled themselves very quickly. And what had happened was he had gotten alien abducted. He had fallen down this ravine. An alien craft came, and it's kind of collecting specimens of all of the planets of the universe or whatever. And so I wanted to collect, but not collect to keep, I guess, or I forgot what. But he wanted to collect a human. So he collected him and then took him to study and brought him back. But the problem was, whenever the alien creature brings back the subjects, he would simply travel back in time and drop him off at the exact moment that he captured him. But because us humans don't have the same molecular structure or whatever, the alien could not travel back to drop David off at his regular time. Whoops, he dropped them off back 9 years later. So David's still a boy, but the world has progressed 9 years, and it's all weird and confusing and all of that. So hey Mark, how are you doing? I don't know if you ever saw the movie or heard of the movie Flight of the Navigator. I was just telling Stevie about it. We were talking about classic childhood movies. But Flight of the Navigator, I don't know if that rings a bell. It was a Disney movie. I'll pull it up here a moment. So tonight is another hangout photo stream rather than magic, but I'm changing things up. So Flight of the Navigator. This is it right here, 1986. I'm going to play this a moment without any sound.
When you just grew.
So yeah, there it is. He falls down the ravine, and oh, what happened? See, they're giving so much away even on this preview. That's amazing. And he got abducted by that alien creature, and there's other alien creatures, and he couldn't return him back to his own time because humans are too fragile for the return trip. So the big mystery about where am I? It's 9 years later and such gets kind of given away very quickly. And so now there's this alien that, how can I control it? And I'm in charge of this amazing ship. See, that's why this was such a cool movie for a youngster, because it was, wow, he's controlling this amazing ship. And it's like pure chrome, and this alien controller of the vessel, but I'm stuck 9 years in the future and such. That's such a cool movie. Flight of the Navigator. Well, yeah, Pee Wee Herman was the voice of the machine. Sarah Jessica Parker in a young role. We went down memory lane on that movie, yeah. Yeah, the ship looks amazing. If it would have been a movie, you would have probably been all about, yeah, it was so cool, definitely. And yeah, Pee Wee was the voice of that computer. Of the
number one show
of the
When you just
Pee Wee Herman was the voice of this interface thing. In the beginning, it had a serious voice, and then after there was a malfunction or something, then it got the voice of Pee Wee Herman. So yeah, classic movie. Any other classic movies that have come to our minds? Mark, anyone you remember from your childhood that really stood out to you as a cool adventure, useful movie and the like? So definitely I remember that one. Just finished the shelf you were working on Discord. Yeah, let's check out that shelf. So I'm doing a little bit of photography, hanging out sort of stream at the moment. I took this photo recently. Wasn't able to get it shot very well, but I'm gonna kind of play with the Willow. Yes, that's an amazing movie, definitely. Haven't seen it in a while. I definitely want to. But when I saw it back in the day, now what I definitely remember more about Willow was the amazing Nintendo video game. I loved that game. I had it. I still have all my old Nintendo games, but Willow, the Nintendo game, was so good. It was this long adventure. It was like Legend of Zelda. The Labyrinth, yeah, with David Bowie as the Goblin King. I think he was the Goblin King or something. So, didn't they recently do some kind of Labyrinth sequel or something? Labyrinth. But definitely the 86 one. Pan's Labyrinth, no. 2012 Labyrinth, no. Into the Labyrinth, Labyrinth of Lies, Labyrinth of Passion, Labyrinth, The Labyrinth. So many movies with simply named Labyrinth. So it'd be cool here if they also had sort of, what's the genre of these? Yeah, the Willow series on Disney Plus. I heard they rebooted it that way. Got Warwick Davis back on board. Yeah, Labyrinth, I haven't seen this one in a while as well. Play this without sound so YouTube doesn't get mad. So PG in 1986 is different than PG nowadays. But that was an amazing Jim Henson. Jim Henson did the creature work, right? Was that Jennifer Connelly, or who was the girl? Yeah, Jennifer Connelly. Very creative, imaginative design, and the puppeteering and characters. This was 86, so Bowie had already done a movie or two by then. He did The Man Who Fell to Earth in the late 70s. Some music videos. But obviously a much bigger... Wow, look at that. Was amazing. Whoa. Those special effects. Let's watch that again. He's down there, but then he walks over like that. Amazing. I didn't remember that red knight sort of thing. Similar to... like Wizards. Ralph Bakshi's Wizards. Classic movie, now on Blu-ray or streaming. Oh, I was gonna check really fast. What other roles did Bowie do? Let's see. Alright, so what do we have here? Uncredited. The Man Who Fell to Earth, that was his big movie. Don't recognize really any of these movies. He was in the Last Temptation of Christ? I don't remember that, although I haven't seen that in decades. That was a Scorsese movie, or who did this movie? Scorsese, yeah. So he was Pontius Pilate. He was in Twin Peaks. Oh, that's funny. He was in the Basquiat movie, and he was Andy Warhol. That's That's next level. So you've got David Bowie playing Andy Warhol in the documentary of Basquiat. He was in Zoolander. I never saw Zoolander. I know everyone liked it, but I never saw it. Oh yeah, he was in The Prestige. I remember I saw The Prestige. He was Nikola Tesla. He was in the SpongeBob TV series, apparently. Twin Peaks. So there we go. We were looking at David Bowie's filmography. So these photos that I'm showing here, I recently had a photo walk with Stevie and our friend Catherine. Gabe couldn't make it. We're going to see about meeting up next week. But we did a photo walk, and so they brought their cameras, and we went around to this area to take some photos. I think Stevie said he stepped out for a moment, so I don't know if he saw that I shot this photo of him. I think it came out pretty good. There's another photo. I don't think he saw me take it, but it was just being a candid photographer over here. So check it out. He's taking, very professional. He's taking some nice photo of the area, and then I'm taking a photo of the photographer. See, that's deep. A photo of a photographer. And so where we went is this estuary area where, so there's this town, Imperial Beach, southwest of here, and that's where I grew up, actually, from around 85 to 98 or so. And Catherine, at the moment, she lives there. So we all, and then Gabe, I believe, also lives in Imperial Beach. So we were trying to decide for a photo get-together in the last few weeks. And we were going to do it last week, but I got some really bad allergies, so we skipped it. So then this week, we wanted to do it this week, so this past Friday. And he wasn't able to join us, but I think next week he will. And I'm just kind of going through some of these photos that I took. I'm going to be tweaking them a little bit in Photoshop as well. So there was this area where, before you get more to the nature of things, nearer to the houses, there was, what did they call it? The IB rock snake path, something like that. And there was a little plaque there that said, during the COVID pandemic, the community came together to contribute their own piece of our art project. So going off for several meters were all of these little painted rocks of families or individual people, community members, just painting some fun rocks. There were just so many of them. I didn't really get that many shots, but the ones that stood out right here. So this is apparently a hammer or something, hammering away at 2021, and it says bye-bye. Property of the IB rock snake. This one flipped over here. Someone got jealous, so I guess they flipped it over. But this one was hilarious. This little rock's got a mask. Just the simple initials. I didn't notice this one until I look at it again. Here's Leonardo the Ninja Turtle. Live, love, dance. Something over here. I don't know what that is. A ladybug, maybe. Just some design in purple. Something over there. This is Imperial Beach. I should have taken a few more shots of this, but it was pretty fun to have to go through this sort of path area. And then we walked ahead, so this is a National Wildlife Refuge. Birds only beyond this sign. So more to the left over here is where we came from, where those rocks were at. And we kind of took an L shape and we saw these. And so we've got just various signage of leave the wildlife alone. Let me edit this photo a bit in Photoshop. Let's turn this into some interesting, dramatic, maybe a monochrome type of image. Oh, got the notification over here for these shelves. Tell me about the shelves. The shelf. You cut all the wood yourself, and even the shapes of the what are they called? The parts that hold it against the wall. And of course, there's the. For some reason, I had forgotten that the sunflower is going to be for the side of that shelf, but now that it's all together, it looks nice. I like how it's got... Did you do anything different or special to kind of get the darker parts between the petals? Or does that just naturally get darker when you add the stain to it? Because if you look at it that way, I can see that it's nice that it's of the sunflower's main bulb or leaf, whatever it's called. It does look darker, so you can see the differences in the leaves. Is there something on both sides, the left and the right? That's a nice job. So I'm going to take this image and make it dramatic, black and white. So one technique here is just turn it simple, black and white. And then we'll hit it with this other command here, and now that's dramatic. There wasn't a lot of detail in the sky, but I like that contrast in the ground. Maybe if this were cropped. Not so much sky is necessary there. And you still have the symmetry of the two sides of the photo. I think that's pretty good. So there's these variety of photos that I took. I thought thought the colors were interesting on that, but it's not that interesting of an image. I notice I take a lot of these images that have leading lines, or there's an emptiness in the scene, but then also leading lines, that there's just curves or lines or whatever that point your eye to a direction. So here you have the bike path leading you off to the distance there. Strong vertical lines of the sign. For this being a pretty old camera, it's still got, I think, some good sharpness. In a variety of aspects of the image. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break and then I'll be back. We'll look at some more photos. We'll chat and catch up. Just hang out a little bit, and we'll just shoot the breeze on whatever topics. So be back in a moment. All right, I'm back. Had to do a little break. Now I need to do two things before I forget. One important and one frivolous. So let me do the frivolous one first. For some future photo walks, I have this camera that's only in meters. And I don't quite think in meters, so I want to make a note in feet. And so I would be accessing my oh, thank you. I'd be accessing my notes over here, but do I have this? I guess just here. Okay, so this is my Fuji GS645S. Call this notes, I guess. So I left it. Oh no, I wrote it here. Okay, so we have infinity, 5 meters, 3 meters, 2 meters, 1.5 meters, 1.2 meters, and 1.0 meters. So I want these. I should have done this in a table. Yeah, let's do this in a table. Okay, so I have infinity. 5, 3, 2, 1.5. So Stevie, do you have meters? Do you have meter conversion memorized? And Mark, do you have conversions memorized between meters and imperial? I don't. So I need to make a note of these. Guess we will go with an official guess we'll go with an official calculator or something. So 5 meter to feet, 16.4. It's not exactly 6.5, but I'll kind of mark it as 16.5, 16.4 feet. So then we got 3, which is 9.84. That's almost 10 feet. 9.84. So my camera only has focus settings in meters. I think the camera only came out in Japan, so it's got meters. I have it. I'm not in Japan, so I need to make some notes here on feet. Then we've got 2, which is 6.56. 1.5 is 4.92. 1.3, 4. 4.26. It's so close that I wonder why they had to delineate it. 1.3 is it 1.3? It's 1. No, it's 1.2. 1.2. 4.934. 1 meter. 3.28. So let's say here it's almost 16 and a half. It's almost 10. 6 and a half. 5. Is that right? 492, 495. That's not right. 1.5 is 492, and 1.2 is 393. 394. 4 feet, and that's 3.28 feet, 3.25 foot, I guess. 3.25 feet. All right, so minimum distance is 1 meter. I have to be at least 1 meter, which is slightly longer than my arm length, or so. Some amount. And, okay, so I needed to do that as a quick note on things. And I need to do one more other thing before... So I gotta do this before I forget. The end of the semester is coming up very close, very soon, so I need to send a message to the students that you need to be in class for the next Monday thing. So here's some behind the scenes stuff. What's the scariest title that I can put here? You need to be in class this Monday. Alright, so that should be scary enough. That'll be a point deduction. If they're not there, send that. Okay, I just need to do a little bit of behind the scenes stuff before I get back to my main stuff here. So I made a note there. Now we'll get back to the photography. So here's a shot that I took of the... I turned it into black and white. What do you think about this one? It's the sign, one of these signs, bike signs. Yep, Canvas says hi. I'm sure you've got experience in it as well. But anyway, here's the shot of the distance in black and white, in some dramatic black and white. The clouds were in this shot, they were okay. They weren't too bright and such, or making things too hazy. And I like the sharpness of the photo. So what's closest here, I focused on the sign, so that's the most in focus. The things back there are more out of focus, but not so bad. And I see all of the detail in the camera. Yeah, so I hope you get your photos off your camera soon, so you can kind of check them out. You should be able to plug in if you still have the cable that came with the camera, right? The USB cable. You should be able to plug into the camera and then the other into your computer, and you should be able to retrieve the photos there, because I think you took a bunch. Do you remember how many you took? Did you keep track on your counter on your camera how many shots you took? I ended up doing 72 photos. I'm actually kind of still looking at them to see which ones to delete and stuff. I've deleted one so far. So I got this shot. This one's pretty cool. There's Catherine taking a shot there in the distance. It was pretty fun that they had this children's art as the as the signs. San Diego Autobahn. No, not Autobot. Audubon Society. Drones prohibited. Launching, landing, or disturbing of wildlife by aircraft, such as drones, on the refuge is prohibited. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Department of the Interior. I'm always interested in these little things here, so there's some number there. VOS. V signs. I guess if you were to guess, you'd probably talk about 20 or 30. Voss Signs LLC, Manjulus, New York, with a phone number. Oh, I didn't even notice there were initials right there. So here's one of the many shots that I did where it's kind of like just looking at things in a distance. Like that. If you were there, if you had been there a month or two ago, all of those flowers would have been yellow. You're starting to see that they're dying off now there. The ones on the side over here are still nice and yellow. But imagine that, if you had been there 2 months ago or so, all of those would have been bright yellow and green colors there. I thought it might be interesting, the red over here versus the yellow, but didn't come out that great. But that's a little better. So we have some yellow, some red, some yellow. There's that weird rock all by itself. The little bridge. You can't hurt its feelings. It's got rock hard feelings. I wish I got a better shot of the bridge on the side. I don't think you can get any very good side, and maybe you got one. You or Catherine, maybe. But I don't think I got a very good photo of the bridge on its side. I tried to do a couple of these close up here. I don't think that's that great either. I think this one's better. It's kind of basic. So I think that's a better shot. The lines of the bridge. Vertical and horizontal. Even cropped like that, I think it's better. Like that. That way you have that curve of the top of the structure with the straight lines at the bottom. Just thought when you got home that you should had a passerby take a photo of us. Yeah, exactly. We were right there and we were at that little mall area, so I'm sure someone would have been able to take a photo. Next time when Gabe joins us. And I'm surprised he's not here on the stream either. He's always on the stream, but anyway. So in my mind, this was a better shot, but it's not that great, I think. Maybe just the division between the green on the left and right, and then the muddy colors in the middle. So who's those famous photographers right there? So I need to Photoshop myself in the middle, right there. Then it'll be that we were all together. This is the shot that I said, oh, I like the shot except for the graffiti. So if I Photoshop that out, or crop it out like that. Oh, so here's a shot of that bird from that distance there. This is as close as I could get because again, I don't have the zoom lens, so zooming in 100% into my picture, that's as far as it gets me to there. There's the shot that I took of the Ninja Turtles lair. Let's see if we can brighten this up a little bit more in Photoshop. Alright, so let's see about pulling some of these shadows up. Well, nothing too interesting is there. Yeah, we can bring out more shadow detail, but there's nothing too interesting to look at. So if it's dark like that, I think the photo will even be better if it doesn't get brightened up, because there's just nothing interesting to look at. So what do you think there? There's the brighter version of things where you can see into the tube, but there's nothing there. And there's the original shot where it's just kind of more dark and mysterious. So what do you like better? Nice bright scene or darker scene? Somewhere mid-between, let's see. So if right there is 100, we put it at 50. There it is, midway there. No problem, we're just looking at more photos. I've discovered the Ninja Turtles secret lair right here. So we went out to this area to take photos. Myself, Steven, Catherine, Gabe will join us next time. But I'm trying to decide if I like this shot. So we can bring up the shadows here and we can actually see, but there's nothing that interesting to see there. In the original photo, it's darker and more mysterious. So what do we like better? The original photo where you can't really see in the turtle layer, or editing with the layer brightened up. If I look at it at 100%, so there it is bright, there it is original. So do we like the dark, mysterious, snapping turtle layer, or brightened up to see a little bit? You can see more detail, definitely, but I kind of have a sense of we don't even need to see the detail, because that gives us a foreboding sense of there's something scary there. And if we brighten it up, we see there, and it doesn't give me the same sense of dread. But let's go with it brighter. And then to change some of this contrast, color saturation, that's nice and green. I've got this effect that I can do here where the colors get shifted in these interesting ways right here. So wow, look at that. Now we're talking toxic. Now we're talking turtle mutagen. All of those colors have gone, all of those all that green foliage has gone over to like pink radioactive foliage. Yeah, so I have this effect that I can do in Photoshop that mimics infrared photography. It really shifts, especially greens, over to pinks, purplish types of colors. So I might try that effect on a couple of these shots. So let's see, we have this nice idyllic shot here, and then I use my special filter, and we get that, so that's kind of alright, but then here it definitely shifts over to these weird colors. It looks like something out of the movie Avatar. This is where we saw a fish, and it's barely visible here in the shot. There's it's right here. There's a fish where we were joking that it's some sort of alien creature or something devoured a fish and left pieces of its carcass there on the side. So you don't notice it when it's the full image, but when you zoom in, you see something scary there. Nice daisy. Yeah, I wish I knew my flowers. Let me jump over to one over here. So I took it there. I realized now, after the fact, that my shadow is covering the flower itself, so it's in some amount of shadow, so I pull it up to brighten it. And so during this photo walk, I was working with this Canon 300D, the first generation of the of this family of cameras. So it's 6 megapixels, but the results here zoomed in 100% on my shot. I think it's pretty good, pretty sharp. You can see even the little pollen or whatever those flower structures are. So the sharpness of the edge of the leaves is nice. This one could be cropped to that 100% aspect. I managed to take the photo. I took that exactly in the center of the frame, apparently. Glad you took your allergy medication. Yeah, same here. I took There's I go with the little allergy pill. That one works for me. But there were lots of flowers along those paths. Yeah, this one was funny. So someone went off into the no man's land there to put a sign. Yeah, because people can be as bad as their animals. $1,000 fine for littering. That's one of the highest penalties that I've seen for that. They really want to keep that area pristine, I suppose, because of the wildlife. So yeah, that would make sense that it'd be such an expensive fine. Definitely. We can probably also shoot for another, for again on Friday. Gabe was saying that he would be able to next Friday. Stick a sign under it that says, "It wasn't the dog." Or, "I couldn't help it." Alright, so this is classic me, or classic my photography, where it's just something empty and leading lines. I'm gonna see about some editing. That's way more dramatic. So before it's all right, then after, now we've got those colors really popping out, the contrast really popping out. I even managed to take a photo of it without any undue tilting. It's pretty head on. sharpness came out pretty sharp. This was f9 and 1/400th. Yeah, that came out pretty nice, I think. I wonder if I have any other shots that don't have the, because there's a slight fence over here. So let's see if I have any other shots that don't have that fence. Well, that's the only one, so it does have a fence, but I don't think it's noticeable and such. So I'm actually going to post this one. To post this one. And so this is some behind the scenes here, where I will be uploading it to one of my communities. So vintage, digital cameras, community. I usually put a sort of a simple title on my posts, so I don't want to repeat myself. I'm probably just going to call it The Road, but I'm sure I posted others that also have that name, so let me check if I didn't. I uploaded one called On the Road. I'm going to call this one To Coronado. That'll be unique. So shot on my Canon EOS 300D from 2003. This one is auto mode, but it's got edits. And I like to put a little bit of info on my shots and creative process and the like. So the original photo settings here, my original photo. It's f 9.01400th of a second, ISO 100. $24mm lens. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. We gotta do the photo walk next week. More nature than urban. Yeah, I wonder why. Do you yourself also see more nature than urban settings, and then you kind of are drawn to that, or is it interesting to see my local nature shots more than urban shots? You see a lot of trees and greenery around you, and you're drawn to that. So seeing, in my case, my own greenery, I guess, calls out to you. Oh, okay. More on the outskirts, away from busyness, right? I'll get back to some photos one moment, but I just wanted to post this, kind of share it to the community that I'm in, get some feedback and further improve. You got One with the Multiverse. What does that one do? That's the one that let you mill yourself, I think, and then you get like 5 things for free onto the battlefield, something like that. It's 10 mana, I think. So that's uploaded. So not to toot my own horn, but so on Reddit, I don't know if you know too much about Reddit. It's just another social network to connect with people on various topics. So one of the topics, vintage digital cameras. So yeah, everything's vintage, everything's nostalgic. And when I got back into photography, well, it was film photography, and then I still do that, of course, but then vintage digital cameras. And what is vintage? Well, anything that's older than the year 2010, right? That was 13 years ago. So anything that's 13 to 20 years older. And there were some digital cameras from the late 90s. So in this community, I'm the moderator. And when I discovered this community, there were only around 68 members, and the moderator was very hands-off. They hadn't been doing anything with the community for months or years or something, so I thought, I'm gonna do a hostile takeover. And so I put in the application to become the moderator, and that was accepted by the system, and now look at me, I'm the captain. And so I've then set up the community and put rules and guided it and created a culture for it and such, that fleeting internet fame. And it's gone from 68 members to, as of right now, 2,688 members. And so, yeah, to toot my own horn to some degree, thanks to me, this moribund community has been thriving, and now we're on the top 20% of all of the Reddit communities in the world there. So it was, I snuck in like a ninja, and then I did a bloodless coup d'etat, and I implemented all the things necessary for a modern, thriving community, and I curated and all of that. It is getting bigger and bigger, so I might probably get eventually some help, moderator help, but it's been fine so far. So if we kind of take a little stroll of, here's the latest photos that have been uploaded recently, so let's take a look here. Mine right now that I just uploaded. Now there's the great debate in all of photography, not even digital photography, about how much should you edit a photo. And there's the both extremes of take the photo out of the camera, that's it, it's art, don't touch it. And then on the other side there is part of the art is the manipulation. And even the great photographers of all of history have manipulated their images. So there's no such thing as an unedited image. If you want an unedited image, that's photojournalism. If you want photography, if you want art, you're free to edit. I feel for myself, I'm a little bit leaning towards more the take the photo right the first time and don't edit it as much after the fact. But I've been having a lot of fun, as you just saw here, of manipulating these photos, for clients and the like that I do photography. I often, straight out of the camera is what I strive for. But for my own fun stuff, my own art stuff, I often strive for that out of camera as well. But with this particular camera and then editing in Photoshop, like pulling out these colors and making it more vibrant and such, I've found that to be kind of enjoyable. So there's a debate happening in the community also here. Should people that make edits to their photo acknowledge it or not? And I think people are leaning towards that. Yes, make some sort of note on your photo that you made some edits, because there's plenty of photos here that are amazing straight out of the camera, and there's plenty of photos that are amazing with some amount of edits. This one here. So what else? We have this on the HP PhotoSmart 200 from the late 90s. Now, I don't know why people put a big old border around their images. So notice it just looks way smaller when they post it within their thumbnail here. Now it's a thumbnail within a thumbnail. So why not just post the image so that you can see it? But I notice a couple people love to upload with a white border. And they're, I guess because they're used to, I guess that white border is like a frame or a mat in a framed photo that would be on the wall. But for a digital photo, I think this is a waste of space to just have emptiness. So not a lot of people do it, and yeah, it's classically artistic to have an empty mat around a piece of art. Some art photos often, but I don't really see that on paintings. But even on its own, I think this would have been fine on its own without the white border. So I think this is a new person that just posted for the first time, so this is the Canon SD1000. A lot of the Canon photos are getting a lot of hype recently. A lot of YouTube people are really liking the Canon cameras and making these cameras used to go for $5 if you found them in boot sales or I don't know, is that a word? Garage sales, we say over here. And so these things used to be just taking up space in a drawer because our phone cameras are technically way better nowadays, but everything's nostalgic nowadays. Everything's a throwback nowadays. So the these older cameras with their limitations, and that's the thing about art. Limitations breed creativity. Yep, so someone's taking some photos here of some seaside pictures. Let's see what they say. So at the coast with the SD1000. Did they further write anything? You stumble upon this, whatever, still gives enough range, probably won't up. Yeah, so it's interesting that they focused way more on the technology of the photo rather than the photo, because it'd be nice. Where did you take these photos? Because they're nice. So here, what are we looking at here? Is this a vertical shot or looking down? And then that. So it's a very cool shot there. Classic sort of framing, a shot where you're using the environment to create a frame within your frame. Even got a little splash, froze the action. Now, artistically, if this were my photo, I might even darken. No, actually, you'd probably want to brighten. You'd probably want to brighten these shadows a little bit, saturate the colors in the center. So what I would do is brighten up the right side, keep it monochromatic on the left and the right, but then saturate the center to get a little bit more blue tones in the sky and the water. And I would even so far as to go to edit out this little splash here plus this one here. They kind of cause a distracting bit of action. All of the ones over here are fine because they're all together in this sort of clump of subject matter. But those two little those little bubbles there, I would remove those. Because if you look at it there in its totality, those are a little distracting. What else? So someone's Canon PowerShot G9 taking photos of a bit of random things. This one's fun. Blue tires, blue painted tires. You have that strong horizontal, that strong diagonal line that just cuts across the scene. Blue tires versus the red fence. Someone uploaded a close-up of one of these Gundam models, Zeong, with the Sony Mavica. That camera's so old. The Sony Mavica actually records photos on a floppy disk. I've got 3 over there in my closet that I hardly use. They're just so slow. And these are saving less than, these are only 640 by 480. These are like a quarter of a megapixel. And even those tiny photos take a little while to get saved onto the floppy disk. And then you got to get the floppy disk image, you got to get the image off the floppy disk onto your computer. So it's just a very slow experience using that camera, Sony Mavica. Plus the quality isn't that great. It just needed more light. When you have such a low-end camera, you really have to get close to the subject because you've got so few pixels in the sensor that you've got to get close to things so that every pixel counts. And this is close enough, but it's blurry because the light was too low, so the shutter speed is too slow, and it's a blurry image. God, looks like a ghost. So Rico, this is another person that likes to put borders around their images. The actual image is kind of blurry now that I look at it at 100%, but when it's like that, you don't notice it. But the Rico cameras, I don't think they're that famous at all, although they do create good images. Although these images are a tad blurry. I think the light was a little low, and handheld, they shot some blurry shots. That's a pretty striking image there. Although if it were my image and I were editing it, this distracting black line here of the power cable, I would remove that. And the image now is this. I think those are shadows of the leaves. That's also distracting. So I think the image would be very strong if it didn't have any shadows of the foliage on the wall, if it didn't have this black power cable, and maybe if it didn't have this shadow on the bottom left, then you'd have the very striking 3 horizontal sort of layers of the image, the very light plaster of the wall, the lightness of the dirt, and then the pattern in between of the brickwork, and then you have this vertical cactus. So did my music end? Yeah. So this is just me critiquing people's photos. People also like to show off the actual gear. It's a nice one in black and white. They uploaded it with the complete 4000 by 2000 pixels, so you see every millimeter of the shot. But technically out of focus. Or very shallow focus there. Some nice flowers here. The purple and the green looks nice. We probably crop this one. You don't need that top part there that shows the asphalt. They were cropped somewhere around here, and you can focus more on the actual plants. Nice purple tones. Someone did upload a photo of a grave. Right here, I just found it. So here's some grave shots. So with their Fuji fine picks at a graveyard, did they say anything else? So yeah, let's check out some Ebert and other names. So there's a big blurry thing here. I think they got something. I think they got their finger on the lens or something. But is good overall. You've got the vertical grave markers. Colors are good overall. And then they had another one over here. Yeah, out of the two shots, this first one is very good comparatively to the second one. Don't think this is a good shot in that what's the subject. If we have the vertical trees in the back, okay, interesting. If we have the little flowers nearby, okay, interesting. Do we have those tombstones on the left? Well, they're not focused enough on the scene, so there's no real strong subject in this image. The first graveyard shot I think is very good, and this one I don't think it's that good. But if it were, this is another one I think if you really crop it down to like something like that, where you don't need all those trees, they're not close enough to care about them, and their shapes are not that interesting. But if you have it something like this, well, you can focus more on the close flowers, and you get some of these in shadow and then some in light, and you kind of get a layered effect moving through space. And definitely what I see as being the moderator of this community. So here's what if we look back here, I see that the newcomers don't read the rules and they dump a bunch of photos. The rules are between 1 and 3 photos per post for various reasons, and I can tell when a newcomer comes to the community, they don't read that rule because this one's got 6 shots. And a lot of the times people, they're just so happy with their new camera that they upload a bunch of photos. But even like looking at this, no offense and such, but what's the point? Why you're so happy that you loved all 6 of these photos, but when you upload more than one photo, you usually have an idea or a theme, something that ties them all together. These are not. Okay, we've got a shot of a bicycle in front of a store. I like this shot a lot. And we've got, okay, a grave. This photo could be a little bit stronger. It's kind of slightly tilted off, maybe if the statue were centered. So that has no relation to the previous photo. Then we have over here, okay, well, that's a motorcycle compared to a bicycle. That's some good contrast there, but it gets lost by having another subject in between the first shot and this shot. Then we've got this shot of, I don't know what this is at all, a close-up of a car or something, AMG V8 biturbo biturbo. It's a vehicle, I guess, but it's just not, it's too dark, the colors don't stand out enough. Oh, it's part of the group. And you've got, okay, this is interesting. It's a little bit of graffiti. It's a very desaturated image. Again, why do you have so much emptiness with the white space? The image on its own would stand very well without all of that border. So that by itself uploaded, I think, could have been a very strong showcase piece. But then why is it part of this group of 6? I guess you could vaguely argue this is just a bunch of urban shots together. Yeah, right. They didn't have that idea in mind, I'm sure. And this one on its own, nice and sharp image, very cool lines going all over the place, but it doesn't tie together with any of the previous images. And then 6, so yeah, so that's why one of the rules is up to 3 photos. And the newcomers, you know, I go in and respond to everyone in a positive way, and then also tell them, hey, you broke the rules. Please follow them next time. So I always kind of interact with people that way. And 99% of the people say, okay, thanks. Yes, I will do that next time. And then there's a couple of times people get mad, like, why are there rules? Why can't there be anarchy and I do what I want? I'm putting words in their mouth. But that's basically what they're saying. When someone uploaded 19 photos in one post, I told them the same thing. And they said, but I liked all my photos. And I'm like, yeah, right. Hey there, Team Teeks, welcome. Oh, well, Teeks, now I see. Got a little change up there. So we're just talking about photography and the like. And I am good. I've been showing on my stream so far some photos that I took recently. So I'm going to get back to those. I was just critiquing other people's photos. But I took some photos recently of the estuary nearby. There's also a bike path. That people can go on. So here's a pretty flower. A cool shot of bikers. Now, what do we like better? The bike riders at that distance or the bike riders at this distance? Which is a stronger image? Them being further off with the sort of implied motion that they're coming at us, or here where it's sort of stronger visually in terms of they're close, there's the emptiness behind them. Now these photos, I took them with my Canon digital SLR camera. This is the Canon 300D. Been getting back into photography and also vintage digital cameras. There is such a thing. So this is a camera from 2003. This is a 20-year-old camera. And I was using this with friends to go on this photo walk. So I don't have a shot of all of us together, but here's a shot of the other friends. So Stevie, who also comes to the streams, is right there, and Catherine, she was there. She was here last week. So she and I, Gabe wasn't able to make it this time, but we're gonna try to meet up next week. And so we're just kind of getting ready to walk around, take some photos. I think this is a cool candid shot of her, the photographer. A photo of the photographer. That's art, right? So out of these two, maybe the close-up one is better. Now, what I'm also doing, not just showing them off, but I'm also tweaking them in Photoshop, doing some Photoshop trickery to do some interesting things. Watch this. I was playing with this photo earlier. I'm going to turn it into black and white, and it has kind of a very cool style in black and white. So convert to black and white like that, but then do some massive contrast like that. Whoa, is that dramatic or not? Now the people are silhouetted. There's more of the privacy of the people, and now you just have these dramatic shapes. And this is one of the ways to do good black and white photography, because you have the abstraction of color, the subtraction of color. You can then deal with shapes. Like even if you crop the image just to like that, that's dramatic, or something like that. Not even showing the people, just wheels in motion. That's a crop right there too. You have the leading lines of the what's the road paint called? I suddenly forget. And then you've got this really grainy texture of the asphalt mimicking to some degree the plants. So in the totality of it like this, I love it like that, and even cropping it in a variety of other ways, even without the people. Like that. And there's just a little fly there. Oh, I've got to show this over here, this egret. I think it's an egret. Did some nice posing for us. So this is just a nature preserve. This isn't any zoo or anything, and just this big old bird strutted its stuff, and I caught a shot of it like this, and then standing. So what do we like better, the standing pose? You get a good sense of the two little legs, the little spindly legs, plus the curve of the neck, or do we like the motion of the legs moving around, and then the neck craning forward? So the step or the stand, what do y'all like? Stepping or standing? I like the curve of the neck of it standing, and I think it's a nice majestic pose, but I also like the legs moving. What about all of you? And so with the particular lens, it's a kind of a wide angle lens. It captures a lot. And you see the houses and the highway back there, and so I think the image is way stronger if you just crop it to a little bird. Looks like a New Zealand grey heron. Yeah, it's probably a heron. I don't think it's an egret. I think I got that wrong. I think something else was an egret. Let's take a little... I think we had egrets there too. I didn't see one, but let's take a little side detour here. New Zealand grey heron. Yeah, I think ours is one of those herons. So New Zealand grey heron. Very similar, right? I think it has a lot of similarities. I don't know if ours is particularly the California... I think on the poster it said Great Heron, because all our stuff is great. So this is the one there. Yeah, very similar. Literally from the other side of the world, but very similar morphology. So mine over here. Let's see, I hadn't checked this one in black and white. Let's see how this looks in black and white. So if you go with black and white, and with then dramatic contrast black and white, and crop civilization out. Right, white herons are rare to see in New Zealand. So I guess this would... Now, can I crop this as far as not having that fence? So very contrasty there with all the foliage. Can we even make it more? It's too much there, but... just right around there. It's interesting. Alright, so where was I? Here in my shots. The people, the bikers. This was kind of nice. The contrast between the, again, I don't know flowers, but those flowers with the white petals and then seemingly the same flowers but with yellow petals. And our rains, our strong rainy season had just passed, so some of them are starting to wilt now, but you can still see a lot of great color in them. There's Stevie taking a photo. Off to the distance, northward. These shots weren't that interesting. That shot's alright. We've got a lot of sky there, so what if I edit this one a bit? Bring up the color, bring up the contrast. Yeah, make that sky really stand out. Saturate it like that. So we got some before and after. Yeah, that's coming out very nice. Very muted colors, but then almost hyper-realistic here. Obviously some people will say that's too far, that's too computer edited, but this is art, not science. So I think going this far creates, it's leaning towards a little bit surrealistic, but it's definitely dramatic. This is a shot west or eastward from where I'm at. So then Catherine climbed up on the on this sign here to get a good shot, and she got a really good shot. And then she saw me. I was taking a photo of her, so she said, "I'll take a photo of you." So I got to get her photo of me and share that. It would have been funny if all three of us were taking a photo of each other, and then we combined it all into some amazing photo. This one's got a nice contrast between the green and the blue and the yellow, so let me edit this one a bit. And with all of these edits, I'm just kind of working on them a bit and then canceling the edits. I have a lot of lightiness in that I edit my photos and I like them at that moment, and then I delete all the edits and then do it again next time. Because for all of these, it's either for my own enjoyment or to show it off like this to people. I'm not putting them together, or I'm not editing the photos and such to put them in any gallery or anything, although I do upload some of them once in a while. But even returning to the photos after the fact is fun. Oh, that's funny. It happens once in a while that you press the button wrong and it suddenly deletes all your edits. That's funny. Alright, so here are the color edits, and then cropping it. That's a really strong crop there. If I keep it more widescreen, you get more of a sense of the place, but even this close up, you have this little island in the middle of the water. Got all the green at the top, the more dried flowers at the bottom. If instead, just crop out civilization over there. Like a very wide panoramic shot that way. Well, either way, I managed to get a good shot to work with, and then work with even more later. So, I've been streaming for about 2.5 hours now, so I'm gonna just kind of show the final ones. There's a few final ones, and then we'll wrap up the stream. There's an old train tracks passing around those areas, unused. So they had this mural with all of these birds that I suppose visit the area, with a little plaque on which birds they are. You see over here we've got the egret and the heron. That building's kind of interesting because it's got a curved facade, which I don't really see too often. And I wonder what that building was before, because I think it's been there for a long time, decades. It's probably been different. It's been different companies throughout the years. It's just so classic to me. Well, I grew up with them, but it's so classic to me to see all these palm trees around. So this corner is kind of disreputable. There's a tattoo parlor. There's an adult store next to that. And what's the final one here? I think that's a barber shop. Well, that's a very evil-looking barber shop with a completely black facade in the store. Phillips Station. Then over there is a restaurant. It used to be a steakhouse, and now it's an Italian food restaurant. That's an old building there. I think its structure is made out of an airplane hangar. You often see that type of a roof on an airplane hangar. And there's a granny taking her grandkid home. Car wash. Here's a fun name for a laundromat, the Super Wash and Dry at the Palm Avenue Market corner. I thought that was a fun classic building. Well, you gotta get him from somewhere. So this is the main street of Imperial Beach. It's called Palm Avenue, and some of these buildings feel like they're very old. This housing complex there that's relatively new, but this building there feels like it's old. And in its latest incarnation, apparently it's a insurance vendor. But this one's interesting. This is some AT&T substation or something that's been there decades. I've seen footage of this building being here since the 60s, and its latest incarnation has this really cool mural. The whole building is blue, and you have all this cool painting. And so someone's walking by. Got two shots of them. I like that they're here. In this photo, I like that they're here so that it doesn't interfere with the rest of the background, but their pose isn't as good. Over here, I like their pose is way better, but now they're getting lost in the rest of the mural. And this one over here had another car that was about to zoom into view, so I wasn't able to get the perfect shot, I guess. With some Photoshop effort, I can move this person over here to here, so I've got the pose that I want from them, and I'd put them more over here. And again, this is art, not science. Of course I can manipulate my photo. Yeah, that's a nice mural on that building. Very saturated colors even in and of itself. Well, I'm not fully sure what those ribbons are there. It doesn't really feel like they really fit within the mural. It just feels like debris in the ocean. I was telling Stevie this earlier. This fun little building has been around also for a long time. Back in the 80s, I remember that it was a flower shop, and I think it was called the Flower Barrel. Okay, just one moment. The cat needs help over here. So this was the flower barrel, and they would sell flowers in a barrel-shaped building. Now, that's years ago. Then it became some other store, and apparently its most recent incarnation is this CBD Superstore. I don't know if they're still open. Their sign is very faded, and they've got the classic green paint job. They got the classic green paint job to show that they are of the CBD vendor variety. I think in the old days it was a sort of a very light beige with a brown colors. Now it's beige and green. And next to it right here is a vape smoke shop. Now, when I was little, this was a VHS rental store. And I don't remember the name of it. There was another video rental store, which I remember was called Flix Video, or Flix Videos or something, Flix. I don't remember the name of this one. But back then, 35 years ago or more, this was a video store, and I remember that they had the section of horror movies and their VHS boxes on the shelves. And just looking at the covers of those boxes was enough to give me a nightmare that night. Some of those old covers were just so scary. Never mind even watching the movie, just by seeing the covers, that was enough for me. Now, decades later, it's a vape and smoke shop. And next to it used to be a laundromat. I don't know if it's one stop over or that was the laundromat, but it's no longer. Nothing is open there. And then someone left their Rally's hamburgers. I'm sure they don't have this in New Zealand, Mark, but do you know of a place called Rally's? It's a hamburger joint that is sort of focused on automotive things. Their French fries are amazing. They batter them in a way that I've never seen in other places. And when Rally's first opened up decades ago, it was so revolutionary. Their fries were amazing. The hamburgers were all right. And I think right across the street is the Rally's, so that's why this debris is here. It's interesting that it got caught up in the vines. There's a solar over here. That's a mechanic, I believe, on the side there. So definitely there's a lot of nostalgia when I visit IB. Now, this amazing donut shop is named Fresh Donuts with 2 H's, and they should be proud of that. I don't know why they have such a tiny sign for their such a tiny shape for their signage. I wasn't able to get a very good shot, but I never realized that. I don't drive by there that often, but enough that I remember there's a donut shop there. But when I looked at it carefully this time, I saw, oh, it's Fresh Double H Donuts. That's funny. Bobar Liquor is this local institution. They have 5 locations. This is location number 1. Pretty memorable colors, the red and the orange. And that was the last shot. That just loops back to the beginning. So, yeah, I ended up with 73 shots, but I deleted 10 of them that I didn't feel were as strong as they could have been. So that was my photo adventure with Stevie and Catherine. Hopefully Gabe can join us, and I'm surprised he wasn't here on the stream this time, but we're trying to set up also for Gabe to join us next week, and maybe we'll go to the beach area, see about taking photos there, so I'll report back on that. in the future. And yep, so I'm taking a little break on Magic. Not sure if I'll do it again next week or not. Play some Magic or just do some hangout stuff, photo stuff, just to change things up. Haven't uploaded any recent video to the YouTube. Got ideas, of course, but then to actually execute upon them, haven't had the full willpower to do that just yet, so I'll do that soon enough. But I think at this point we'll wrap up. Been streaming for over 2.5 hours, so this will be a good spot to stop. That's what I showed up this week with the Canon 300D, also known as the Canon Digital Rebel. That's what I took photos with last time. A vintage camera from 20 years ago. Took some nice shots, and then also with some Photoshop magic, you get some dramatic photos. So thanks everyone for stopping by. Don't be a stranger on the Discord. Be on the lookout for new YouTube stuff that I might upload next week. And I'll be back next time. Take care, everyone.